Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm your host, Andrew Brunet, and we're live right here on Fake Chats. Man, I don't know about you, but I am excited for the conversation tonight. We've got one of the biggest super of Southern gospel music. If you know anything about Southern gospel, you'll know this guy right here. Man, I tell you what, if you've been following his Facebook this week, he had a journey to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, and I'm sure he's going to tell us a little bit about it. He got to cruise down the halls of the LeConte Center with some of the biggest names in gospel music. Would you make welcome my great friend, your great friend, Nicholas Wilke? How you doing, buddy?
Andrew, I'm doing fine, man. How are you?
I am blessed and highly favored, and I didn't say flavored this time, so I guess I'm better off.
Yeah, man, it's good to be here. I'm glad to be on, man. Thank you so much.
Man, I am excited to have you here. You are a dear friend, and man, let's just start the conversation off right. You got to enjoy yourself this week at the NQC. Share with us some bright moments of the week, if you would.
Man, I love NQC. I've been going since 2014. 2014 was the first year that it was in Pigeon Forge, and I've been going ever since. Uh, this year, well, a highlight is always just roaming around in the halls, like you said, just talking to people. That's my favorite part of NQC. I love that part of it. I watch them singing too, and I love it. But my favorite part is just talking to the artists and talking to the folks there, just in the hallways and all that stuff. That's my favorite part. But a few specific highlights of this year. Dwayne Allen of the Oak Ridge Boys was there because he was inducted into the Southern Gospel Music Hall of Fame this year. And so I got to meet him. I met him twice this year at NQC. So that was one of my highlights. And also, another one of my highlights was going to the grave of bass singer Acel Sword. Acel Sword was an old bass singer. He sang with the Homeland Harmony Quartet, the Miracle Men, the All American Quartet. Actually, he sang with the Statesmen too uh, even before Big Chief joined the group, and he also sang with the Harmoniers. And so anyway, I and my dad and I, and also a dear friend of mine, Aaron Rich, who's a Southern gospel music historian, and another guy that I'm close friends with, Brent Joyner, and his wife Christina. We all went and visited Acel's grave together, and so that was a highlight. And then after that, we went to Tony Gore's and ate together. So that was a lot of fun. So that's another highlight. And then my third highlight is one of my favorite groups in gospel music is McCrae Dove and the Dove Brothers. I love those guys dearly, and they were there Saturday, and I got to hang out with them a whole lot and watch them sing. So that was another highlight. So that's probably my top three highlights of this year's NQC. But I enjoyed a lot of things about it. So it's
So,
it's always a lot of fun.
So was there an artist this year that you got to meet that you've always had on your list that you never got to meet before?
Dwayne Allen was one of them. Uh, I had never met Dwayne before, and of course he's not in full time gospel music anymore, but he sings. But the Oak Ridge Boys still do some gospel in their shows, and yeah, I had never met Dwayne before, and I had wanted to for a while, and I I'm glad I got to meet him. He's a great guy, and I believe he's a wonderful guy, and he's a great singer. So, yep, he's one of them. And there's also some other folks that I never met before, but he he just sticks out to me. So,
So I sent you a list of questions and you said, them are some hard questions. And that's what this show is known for, the hard questions. So, hey, speaking of the Dove brothers, look who just popped in. If it's not David Dove just popped in. And he said, hello, Nicholas.
David Dove is one of my great friends. I love David Dove dearly, and lead
And
singer
then
King. Golly, what a singer!
And then Rose Selby popped in. She
Hello,
said,
Rose.
all right. So, starting off this conversation, Nicholas, as a lifelong fan of Southern gospel music, I have to know what was the first song or group that hooked you on the genre, and how did that moment spark your love for gospel music?
First group that got me into gospel music, that truly got me into gospel music, and I became a fan of it whenever I saw them, was the Kingdom Heirs at Dollywood in the end of 2012, I believe it was. I saw them for the first time, and I fell in love with gospel music, and I've loved it ever since. Just the harmonies that they had, and the style of the music, as far as the instrumentation, and the bass singing, and just of course the message of the songs are amazing. And but of course, maybe back then I paid attention to more of the bass singing and the style of the music, and the I just fell in love with that music, and I've loved it. I've loved it ever since.
So let me ask you this: was it through the Kingdom Heirs that you fell in love with quartets altogether?
Well, before I got into gospel music for the first time, I'd say maybe so. Yes, they were the one that got me into quartet music, maybe. But before that, I loved the Dove Brothers. Even before I got into gospel music, they had an album that they did years ago called "Never Ever the Same," something like that. Never the Same, something like that. And um, back then, they were doing kind of more of like a country style, kind of on at least some of their stuff. And that lineup of the group back then was Jerry Martin singing tenor, McCrae was there singing lead. His brother Eric was there singing baritone. David Hester was singing bass, and Jerry Kelso was on the piano. And that album, Never the Same, I just love that album. And back and I loved the bass singing on that album. The bass singing on that album was really something that I loved. And but what got me into quartet music? Maybe the Kingdom Heirs. Whenever I saw them for the first time.
And it started a lifelong friendship for you too.
Yeah.
Jeff Chapman, the bass singer, man, you talk a lot of good about this low down guy. Tell us a little bit about him.
I love Jeff dearly. He's one of my best friends I've ever had in gospel music. He and I are really close. But actually, I don't think I met Jeff the first time. Whenever I saw the Kingdom Heirs for the very first time, I think I met Jeff for the first time in June or July of the next year, 2013. And Jeff and I have been buddies ever since. And he and I have been out to eat together. We've been target shooting together. We've been he's t- he's taken me for a ride in his Corvette that he had, just riding around Pigeon Forge area, just talking and having a good time. And but Jeff's just been an amazing friend over the past over 10 years now, and he's just amazing. Love him dearly.
So, for those who may not know, or for those who do know, you host a podcast called Southern Gospel Conversations.
I do.
Share with us a little bit about how you got inspired to start this podcast.
Folks had told me, folks had been telling me for a while how I needed to do a podcast or a radio show or something like that, and the story's just kind of simple, just kind of not much to it as far as the story, but I just decided to do it one day, and um, I believe it was you, Andrew, that helped me come up with a name for it. And but anyway, I just decided to come up with a name. I just decided to do that, and I've done it ever since. I took a little while off. I did it for a few months or several months, something like that. But then I took a little bit of time off. But then I picked it back up in sometime in middle of 2020, or about August 2023, something like that. And I've done it ever since. And but I just love it. I interview gospel artists. I interview gospel music collectors occasionally, some fans of gospel music, and just several folks that are within the gospel music world.
So, let me ask you this question. Was it a particular interview or story from the music world that made you think, hey, I need to create a space for these conversations?
You mean as far as a story I heard or something like that made me want to do the podcast?
Right.
No, not particularly. It's just that folks were telling me that I needed to do something like that and everything. And I just decided to do it one day. There's no specific story that I heard to where thought to where I thought that I needed to do it. It's just folks have been telling me that I needed to do it, and I just wanted to do it one day.
So you've had some pretty incredible guests. I mean, Mike Holcomb from the Inspirations, and you had this guy named Les Butler from Real Southern Gospel Radio.
I
Share
did.
with us a little bit about what's one behind the scenes stories from those chats that fans would love to hear and why it stands out to you.
Well, the only thing I can come up with, Andrew, is you mentioned Mike Holcomb. Mike told me a funny story on there one time about I think it was the Inspirations put some motor oil or something like that under the Henson's bus one day,
Oh, wow.
making them think that they had a leak or something like that, just as a prank or something like that. So,
Jimmy L. Reynolds from Jordan Shore says to tell you hello.
hey Jimmy, it was good to see you last week, buddy. Jimmy's my buddy. It was good to see you last week, buddy. I love you.
We need to get the Jordan Shore on the show.
Yeah,
Man,
Jimmy, I love him.
but anyway, continuing on, from your viewpoint as a dedicated fan, now here's a question you wanted me to ask that I already had on the list. What's your all time favorite Southern gospel group?
Hovey Lister and the Sensational Statesman Quartet. They're my favorite group, the Statesmen. They're my all-time favorite. Rosie, to be exact, my favorite lineup is Rosie Roselle, Jake Hess, Doyot, and Big Chief and Hovey Lister. That's my favorite lineup of the group, and they're my all-time favorite group. So
Now, here's a question that you probably wasn't expecting. If you could curate the ultimate set list for a dream concert featuring them, what songs would make the cut?
how many songs?
Do your top five.
I would have them come out probably and start out with Just a Little While. Then let's go Faith Unlocks the Door.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Then let's go. Um, I'm gonna try to think about this.
If you want to do top three, that you can do that, and you got one more to list.
Next, let's go Something Within. I'll do top five for you. Then I'll do Big Chief coming out singing a solo. We'll have him sing How Great Thou Art.
Oh, that's a good one.
Then we'll do Getaway Jordan.
Oh, all good ones, man. You talking about an ultimate fan experience now? Now we're talking.
That would be great, wouldn't it?
Jimmy Reynolds said they love you, Nick.
I love you too, Jimmy. Always good to see you, buddy.
So continuing on, Southern gospel has evolved over the decades from classic quartets to modern family groups.
Mm-hmm.
What's one change that you've noticed that excites you, and one tradition that you hope that stays timeless?
Well, I mean, one thing I could say is that there could be more young people now and loving it, and they might help to keep this Southern gospel music alive,
Right.
and that's great. And so that's one thing that came to my mind just then. Just seems to be a fairly good many young people that love it, and I'm one of them. So,
What about a tradition that you hope stays?
uh, I personally now there's a place for it all, and I'm not bashing anything at all, at all. But my personal style that I love the best is the traditional stuff, and I just hope that always stays, in the music.
So, as someone who's not just hosting but deeply connected to the fan community, share a funny or heartwarming encounter you've had at a concert or an event that captures the heart of Southern gospel.
First thing I just come up with, the first thing I just thought of is something that was very kind that happened in 2014, I believe it was. Arthur Rice and Steve French sang "Happy Birthday" to me from stage at a Kingdom Bears concert uh,
Wow.
at Dollywood, and that meant a lot to me. So that's one thing, and just, but there's so many gospel artists that have been so kind to me and showed me a good friendship and just being friends with me and encouraged me and loved on me and all that stuff. And I just absolutely love it. I'm just so blessed to have a lot of friends in gospel music, and I just love it.
So, I'm going to ask you, how has hosting these conversations encouraged even someone like you, the host?
Well, I don't have anything specific to say. I mean, these folks that I interview, they're just good people, and they'll just encourage you, and they'll love on you. And I've had a lot of that folks telling me that I'm doing a good job of my podcast and to keep on keeping on with it and all that stuff. And it's just great. Just a lot of good people that I've had on my podcast, and I'm just thankful for that.
What about a song or, well, hang on, give me just a second. Where did my questions get to? Okay. What about a song or an artist testimony that has personally encouraged you during a tough time?
Song that encouraged me during a tough time. The thing I can come up with, the thing I thought of just now is uh, my dad was in hospital with sepsis back in 2019,
I know what that feels like.
and Jordan Family Band did a song called "Shouting in the Middle of My Storm."
Oh, wow.
I believe it was, and that song encouraged me during that time. So that's an example of that. But a lot of songs in gospel music will do that. Just there's a lot of amazing songs in gospel music that'll just be an encouragement to you and lift you up during.
Mine's
Sure.
mine's forever changing. I cannot list a song because if I list a song, that song might
Yeah.
change tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
You're right. It could. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
listen to a lot of Southern gospel music. So my song is forever changing. Anyway,
Yeah.
so your podcast brings together fans, collectors, and artists. What's one way listeners have reached out to you that shows how Southern gospel builds real community?
How Southern Gospel builds real community. I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Let's say it this way then.
Okay.
Um, okay, so your podcast brings together fans, collectors, and artists. What's one way that the listeners have reached out to you to encourage you?
Well, I'll just go back to well, I'll say this: just the fact that folks listen to it, that just means a lot to me.
That's a big one. Even
Yeah,
here, yeah.
and I love it, and that's encouraging, and I love it. So I would say that for that question.
Because a lot of people don't realize that we cannot do what we do if they don't
Exactly.
listen to what we do.
That, that's exactly right. Yep.
So, continuing on, um, we'll just go to the next one. It says, with season 4 underway, what's next for Southern Gospel Conversations?
Just more good interviews, man, and there's there's a couple things up my sleeve that I'm not gonna say maybe right now, but one of them is another way to hopefully get the word about the podcast out there. So there's that, and also I might be having somebody to do an intro and outro for me for my podcast that I'll be using for all my podcasts coming up. So, but I'm not going to tell you that somebody is, but we'll that'll be good. And whenever I get that nailed down or whatever, I will announce that on my Facebook page.
So let's go back to some of the questions that you sent here. What is your favorite era of gospel music?
Don't get me wrong, I love some gospel music of all eras, including today. There's some great stuff in all eras, but my favorite era of gospel music is the 1940s, 50s to like the mid 60s. I just love that era of gospel music. It was raw back then. It was there was no studio tricks or anything like tuning or anything like that. The artist back then had to really know how to sing and all that stuff, and it was just raw once again. I just love that era, so that's my favorite era. And like I said, I love some stuff in all eras, including today. There's some incredible artists out there today that I love.
What about top five bass singers and why you like them?
George Jones is number one. To me, he had the whole entire package. He had a great upper range. He could nail the low notes. He had great rhythm. He could sing with feeling, and he could do a recitation great. Stuff like he did the last Sunday, and should you go first and I remain, stuff like that.
What was that funny one that he did? I always laughed my head off at that one.
The laughing song,
No, the one where the wife takes apart all her legs and her eyes, and you know the one that I'm talking about.
side by side.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, that's not a recitation, but yeah, that is a funny song though.
That one gets me every time.
Yeah. Uh, and also I just heard George was a great guy. So, um, I so he's my number one, and my number two would be Big Chief, who sang with the Statesman for a long time, from 1949, I believe it was, until 1973 when he passed away. He had a great upper range. To me, he was another one of those total package bass singers. He had a great upper range. He had great low notes. He was one of the best rhythm bass singers ever. He had incredible rhythm. He could do a recitation great. He could sing with feeling. And once again, I've heard he was a great guy. Folks have told me that he was a great guy. He was a good man. So he'll be number two. Number three will be Tim Riley, and I've been privileged to meet Tim Riley several times myself, and but Tim was a good singer, but he had some of the very best low notes I've ever heard in my life. Just they had cut and just solid as a rock. And also, once again, he was just a good man, and he's a good man, and he's still around. He's still with us, alive and everything, and he's just wonderful. So he's my third favorite. My fourth favorite is London Paris, who sang with the Rebels and the Blackwood Brothers and a few groups like that. I love London's country style that he sang with. If you listen to him, you can tell he sang with a really country style, and so I love that. And once again, he had some of the best low notes I've ever heard. Cut and just he could nail them, and he was also a good singer, and and he did great at recitations too. Uh, like I talked about with George and Chief. So London's my number 4. My 5th favorite is Bob Thacker. I want to give a shout out to one of my best friends I've ever had in gospel music, Berman Porter. I was talking to Berman one day on the phone, and I had heard Bob a little bit before this, but not much. I was talking to Berman on the phone one day, and Berman said, "I'll tell you another bass singer that was low as a foghorn, and that's Bob Thacker." And so Berman told me that, and I talked to Berman on the phone that day and everything. And whenever I got off the phone with him, I searched up Bob with the Harvesters, I believe it was, or something like that, on YouTube. And I heard Bob do "The Streets of Gold," which is a song that he wrote, and he absolutely nailed some low notes on that song, and I fell in love with him. I fell in love with his singing that day, and I eventually got a bunch of records that he was on, and I've just loved Bob ever since. Bob could nail a low note. He was just a natural low, just natural bass singer, and one of the best at recitations I've ever heard. Just he could do a recitation great. Farmer in the Lord, the 23rd Psalm, stuff like that, and he sang the part well too, the bass part well too. So those are my top 5. I love those bass singers, and of course there's others that I love too, but those are my top 5.
You know, you mentioned something about records, and as I look behind you,
Yep.
man, what an impressive collection.
Yeah, and that's not all of them. There's more than that. So
How many would you say that you had on the rough estimate?
rough estimate, maybe I'm getting to where maybe 2,500 ish,
Wow.
something like that.
Is there a favorite one that you like to listen to that you pull out a lot?
Well, like I said, my favorite group's the Statesman. There's a couple Statesman albums that I've listened to multiple times. One of them is the second album they did. The Statesman Quartet sings with Hoagie Lister or something like that. It's the one where Cat Freeman sang tenor on all the songs on it. And "When My Master Walks with Me" is a song on it. That's one of the best cuts ever that the Statesman did. So I've listened to that album a lot. Another one of my favorite Statesman albums is "The Mystery of His Way." I've listened to that one a few times at least, and uh, that's all I can think of off the top of my head. But there's I love my records, man. Love them dearly. I got some at the National Quartet Convention this past week, and one of the ones I got at the National Quartet Convention this past week was the Statesman Blackwood Favorites album, which I had already had, but there are like 3 or 4 different covers of that album, and the cover on the one that I got at the NQC this past week is very rare. It's like a blue cover, and I'd never seen it before, but I was given that, and I cherish that. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, I love my records. So
Well, Nicholas, I want to thank you for your time, buddy, and thank you for what you do. And real quick, before you go, people can listen to you on the Life FM. Tell them real quick about your segment and where they can listen to you at.
yeah, oh yeah, I do a segment every Wednesday morning on the Life FM where I get an artist to send me 3 to 5 interesting facts about themselves or something fans may not know about them. And the general manager of the Life FM, Rodney Balcom, and his daughter Reagan, and I play those on the radio and talk about them, have commentary back and forth. And what that does is that gives the radio listener a chance to get to know the artist more personally. And so I do that every Wednesday morning. That segment comes on every Wednesday morning about 8:50 a.m. Eastern time. And you can listen to it on the lifefm.com website, on their app, or you can listen to it on one of the 25 different radio stations they have. And it's a lot of fun. I love doing that. So
So, has there been a fact that you didn't know that you learned about it?
There has been a lot. I can't think of one right now. I would need to
You
uh
need to think about that.
I would think about that one and prepare and just kind of have more time to think about that one. But yes, there's been stuff that I didn't know. Yes.
Well, Nicholas, thank you for your time. Real quick, for the folks that are not connected with Nicholas, there is a QR code in the top left hand corner. If you take your phone camera and you put it up to the QR code and you scan it, it will take you to the one, the only Nicholas Wilke's Facebook page. That's for this interview only. The other interviews are for other people. But you can scan this QR code on this interview and it will take you to Nicholas Wilke's Facebook page. Nick, thank you for your time. Have a blessed night, buddy. I love you and thank you for what you do.
Man, I love you, buddy. I thank you for having me on. It's always a lot of fun being with you, buddy. Man, I appreciate you and what you do, man.
All right. You keep up the good work.
Thank you, buddy. Bye bye.
All right. Bye.